Hey Frontline family, it is great to be back with you today. This morning we are going to be looking at Luke 24 verses 13 to 27. And this is that part of scripture where we see the two disciples walking from Jerusalem to Emmaus. John spoke about this at our online service a couple of weeks ago. And when we read through this passage, we see that there are these two disciples walking along quite saddened and disheartened as they talk about Jesus together. A third person comes along who they don't recognise as Jesus and then continues to talk to them. You know, what is it that you've been talking about? What have you been chatting about while you walk? And they start to explain what's happened, how there was this prophet, this teacher, this amazing teacher, and that they thought he was the Messiah. But then he's died. And they go on to talk about how there are these two women in their group that have said that they've seen him. But if you read through this passage, it's really, I think, quite clear to see that they are having a bit of a crisis of faith. They had these great ideas about what following Jesus was supposed to look like. It was meant to be glorious. It was meant to save Israel and create a new kingdom. And it doesn't look anything like they thought it would. And because of that, they are umming and ahhing about their decision. Sort of like, was Jesus really the person that we thought he was? Was he really the Messiah, or were we wrong? And I actually think there are times when all of us have that same crisis of faith that the disciples had on their way to Emmaus, where we've seen all these amazing things happen, but what we were hoping for, it didn't turn out, or it doesn't look the way that we wanted it to, or were hoping for it to, or we sometimes just literally do not understand how we've got here, why it looks the way it does, and it seems totally contrary to what we were expecting. And Jesus does something really amazing for these two disciples as they are walking down this road to Emmaus. He starts to once again unpack the scriptures and show them that the path that he walked on, this path that led to suffering and death, was quite clearly in the scriptures already, that it was just the fulfillment of the promise. This is what the fulfillment of that promise looks like. And I think that for all of us, there are times when we need to do the same thing. When we need to go back to the Bible, we need to go back even and look at our own lives and see the continuing faithfulness of God to us. Because when we're in a crisis of faith, the thing to do is to go back, isn't it? Go back to our Maker, go back to our Father, go back to Jesus and talk to him and let him help you to see the truth in what he has for you. To be reminded not just of the promises that he's made for the future, but also of the very many times he's been faithful in the past. And that's exactly what Jesus did for those two disciples on the road to Emmaus. He took two men who were sad and despondent and feeling like the whole world had ended, all their hopes and dreams had been dashed. He took them back to his word and reminded them of God's promises so that they'd be filled with faith, knowing that they'd actually put their faith in the right place. Because actually, Jesus is the only place for you to put your faith. That's it. It's just him. And he's always faithful, always, unrelentingly so. Whatever he says, he does. We can always trust in him because he's always got our best at heart. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.